Good afternoon. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media for HAR. Welcome to HAR Community Conversations. We are here the first Thursday of each month at 12 noon to have meaningful conversations about the topics that matter most to Houstonians. And today we are very pleased to be joined by Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner. Mayor Turner was elected in December of 2015 and overwhelmingly reelected in December 2019. He is currently serving his second four-year term. In his final year as mayor, his theme has been execution and implementation, and he's focused on finishing major projects and initiatives. Welcome to the program, Mayor Turner.
Thanks, Christina. Thank you for having me, and it's good to be with HAR one more time.
Absolutely. We're delighted that you could be here again towards the end of your term to talk about everything you've done in these two terms and during your administration, and maybe some insight into the future. To get right into it, you had to deal with some major things that no one could have seen coming, like Hurricane Harvey and COVID, amongst others. What lessons did you learn leading Houston during those difficult times?
Well, number one, always be prepared for the unexpected, if that makes sense. I came in 8 years ago with a set agenda. There are certain, core services that as a mayor you have to deal with. The budget, garbage pickup, making sure that the buses and trains run on time. Public safety is always number one. The finances of the city. So there are certain core things that I knew I had to deal with, and we were planning accordingly. And then 4 months in, it's the tax day flood, you know. So I came in January and April, the tax day flood. And then the following year, it was Hurricane Harvey. And then there was one storm after another, followed by COVID. So what I learned is that you have to be able to manage even the unexpected. There are some things you can't prevent, you can't avoid. You simply have to manage. So sound management, you have to be able to communicate, because information, it goes a long way in helping to manage the city, and in helping to set people's expectations. So communication, providing credible information, that's important. And then you have to do everything you can to hold a very diverse city together. And that is not always easy. So those were things that I learned very, very early, is that as much as you plan, be prepared also to deal with those things that come from left field, right field, and that you just never saw it coming.
Absolutely. Well, despite all of the storms and events that occurred during those two terms, you were able to accomplish quite a bit. What specific initiatives or policies implemented during your administration are you most proud of?
And I would say my response will fall in different categories. On the financial end, pension reform. That was the number one financial issue confronting the city when I came in. And we were able to put forth some permanent reforms that reduced the unfunded liability from 8.2 billion and going up to 2.2 billion now and going down as I leave. So that was one. Public safety is always important. We need more police officers. And so we put in place every single year, we budgeted for 5 cadet classes. We have been able to graduate more than 2,400 cadets that have now joined the force, okay, which is good. But at the same time, I inherited a very aging police force with 39% eligible to retire when I walked in. So you can add more, but that's offset by those who are retiring. So that was one. That was another one. But we've made some major strides. The attrition rate now is down to like 27% and going down, which is good. So public safety is number one. There's another one. And then, of course, in dealing with 7 federally declared disasters in my 8 years. And so we work to build a more resilient, stronger, sustainable city. And in February of 2020, we put forth our Resilient Houston Plan, followed by our Climate Action Plan on Earth Day 2020. And so we're building now a more resilient city. And I will tell you, as of July of 2020, all 550 of our municipal buildings are now run by renewable power. And the city purchased more renewable energy than any city in the United States. And the focus is on energy transition, not demonizing the energy sector, but working in collaboration with them. So I could go on and on, but I think collectively we have done a lot of good things together in this city, and I'm very proud of how we come together in difficult times to move the city forward.
That's wonderful. At your State of the City, you mentioned I can't have a third term, but let's say the law was changed and you are entering your third term now. What would your priorities be leading into that third term? And what do you wish you had more time to accomplish?
Well, and yeah, if I could run again, I would. I would tell you that we're trending in the right direction when it comes to the safety of our city. Crime, violent crime and nonviolent crime is trending down. But you can't claim mission accomplished until you don't have one homicide, one violent crime happening. But we are moving in the right direction. I certainly would like the time to continue to work on that. I told you we're adding more police officers. We're bringing down the attrition rate. But we really need about 600 more police officers. So I would love to work on that. We started Complete Communities, investing in communities and neighborhoods that have been underserved and under-resourced. For decades, we provided tremendous investments in these 10 neighborhoods that we've identified, but that still has a long way to go. There are very key projects that we're working on in those communities. Not all of those projects will be completed by the end of 2023. I would love to have had the opportunity to continue to focus and work on those. Energy transition is another big one that impacts the storms that come into our the Gulf Coast with greater frequency, greater intensity, costing more. What we're doing with the Resilient Houston Plan and the Climate Action Plan is receiving recognition all over the country, in fact, globally. And that, again, is another initiative where we've made significant progress. It's still not mission accomplished. So I would love to continue to work on that. More affordable housing, okay? We put forth a plan to build 3,000 single-family homes by the end of December 2023. We'll only get to about half of that. The other half will be built in 2024. I would love to work on that because we do need more affordable housing in the city of Houston. So that's another big one. So there are a number of agenda items that we worked on, started, not completed, that what I would prioritize for if I had another term. But the reality is, Christina, no mayor finished it all. It's not where it's done, but you put the city in a better place than when you started, and then you pass the baton to the next mayor. So even if I had a third term, at the end of my third term, I would still be saying, I wish I had more time. So you do the very best you can while you are here to put the city in a better place for the next person that will be coming after you. And I believe that I will leave this city in a much, much better place than the city I inherited when I came in.
Absolutely. Well, just to focus a little more on the housing affordability you just mentioned, because obviously at HAR, we take a very close look at home pricing and affordability. How specifically did your administration address affordability concerns? And what steps were taken to ensure a balance between growth and maintaining a thriving real estate market?
Yeah, and sometimes those things can work It can create some tension. Let me put it that way. But it's even better when you're moving in the same direction in a parallel way. One of the goals that we set were we want to build at least 10,000 multifamily units in the city of Houston. I would tell you we have exceeded that goal. We built close to 19,000, which has been fantastic. On the multifamily side, the apartments developments, we've done very, very well. When it comes to single family housing, my department said that we built more housing than previous mayors, but in these last 2 years, I really wanted to build those 3,000 single family homes. We'll get to half that mark, but we've laid the groundwork for the other 15. Quite frankly, we need a lot more than that. We are trying to use various means to make houses affordable for families, whether it's utilizing the Houston Land Bank, the Community Trust, providing more home buyers assistance, educating people more, working with HAR and other groups to put people in a better place so they're more educated and more aware of what they need and the tools that are available to them that can really help them out quite a bit. So we're needing to do more of that, helping to provide more job opportunities, high quality jobs, for example, where if people are making more, then they can afford more. So that's very important. And then just trying to create the environment where every community, every neighborhood is a community and neighborhood of promise and opportunity, so that regardless of where you go in the city of Houston, which part of town, you're looking at neighborhoods of promise that are safe, that are attractive. We wanted to substantially improve a number of local neighborhood parks, because when you have high quality parks on that street, it improves everything in that community, in that neighborhood. So quality of life is very important. Having safe neighborhoods, quality of life, providing good quality jobs, all of those elements work in tandem in order to put people in a better place, even while living in a thriving environment like the city of Houston.
Wonderful. And we were very happy to partner with you and the Houston Police Department on the Safe Parks initiative as well. That was just announced recently.
And that's huge. And that's huge.
Yes.
In fact, just in the past several weeks, we've cut the ribbon on several of these local neighborhood parks, and the focus is on keeping them safe so that they will be attractive to our families and especially our kids. So let me thank HAR for partnering with the city of Houston on that initiative.
Wonderful. So going back to the multifamily projects, because that's obviously something that can be helpful with that issue of affordability. There were a few projects that had to be scrapped because of opposition from people living nearby.
Yeah.
For those projects to continue on in the future, how can they overcome those obstacles?
Well, I think sometimes people have the notion that if you're building a multifamily unit, it's like, okay, here comes a public housing project into my neighborhood. And so you got that stigma from years ago. And in many, many cases, when these developments are being built, a percentage of the units may be for what I call people in 80% of the average medium income. And those persons can be your firefighters, your police officers, your teachers, okay? So these are people who are working and providing meaningful services. Just because we say affordable doesn't mean that, you're getting people who are not working, for example, into your neighborhood. Now, at the same time, we try to provide, and so you have the affordability factor and you have the market rate, all intertwined with these units, and they are high quality developments, built very nicely. We have some excellent developers in our city, And I'll tell people, if you didn't know that there was some of what called a percentage for affordable families or individuals, you wouldn't even know. You pass by them every day
Mhm.
in every neighborhood. So I think what we encourage developers to do is to talk to the people in the neighborhoods, in the area, explain to them about what they're going to be building, get some of their ideas, and get their input. And when that has occurred, more so than not, people are receptive and they become supportive. It's only when they don't know and then other people who think they know start talking about what they don't know and get on social media. That's when you get the backlash, and then it's hard to reverse the mindsets of people once they get something stuck in their heads.
Mhm.
But I think we've been very successful um, at getting past that, not in my backyard mentality. And I think people recognize that these developments are high quality and that these people are their neighbors. And in many cases, they work alongside many of these persons every day.
Excellent. Thank you. It's really about removing that stigma, as you said.
Right.
We have a question that's coming in from Jennifer Wahab. She said, you worked closely with HAR on many initiatives during your administration. How does the city work with local organizations to stay informed on issues that matter most to Houstonians?
And it is about collaboration. And just like I talked about developers talking to people in the neighborhood before they actually build a product, it's about talking to the stakeholders. When we getting ready to consider an ordinance, it's important for us to sit down and visit with all the stakeholders, people who can provide input, and not only input, people who can help you put forth the best ordinance in the best interest of the city, and then help you to sell it and pass it. And HAR has been very instrumental. There was one measure that came up not too long ago out of planning in terms of um, um, building in various neighborhoods and whether that was going to be a front door facing. And I mean, that was opposition coming from all sides. HAR looked at it, took a very active interest in it and who was going to be building and how it was going to get built. And at the end of the day, that ordinance passed with with hardly no opposition. It started off with a great deal of opposition, but HAR's involvement and input was critical in its passage. And I would tell anyone, any future mayor, uh, how you start in large part will determine how you finish. And it is important to recognize that you have a number of groups, organizations in the city that love this city and they want what's best for this city. And it is always good to invite people to the table to get their input. And then if they feel as though they are a part of it, and this is a good project, they will help to advocate for it. They will come and speak for it. And we had many members from HAR who came to city council on a Tuesday at 2 o'clock and spoke for it. And while they were standing speaking for it, you had a number of realtors in the audience in support. That made a huge difference. And in the end, that ordinance passed. So we just need to do more of it. And I think it just helps us keep our city together.
Wonderful. Another question coming in from Shad Bogany. He said, what do you believe is the future of Houston housing?
I think the future is bright. Shad probably knows it better than I do. Um, he and I have known each other for a long time, worked together. But I think it is. I think the future is bright. Look, there are people who are moving to the city of Houston. they're not moving away. The city is growing. It's the fourth largest city in time. It'll probably pass Chicago,
Mhm.
which is number three. We have businesses and people who are moving from outside of the city, from up north, east, west, even from outside of the country, and they're coming to the city of Houston. We still have the largest medical center in the world. We are the energy capital of the world, and we are now seeking to lead in energy transition. We have the number one port in the entire United States. When it comes to innovation and technology, we're out front. And then the Times magazine just named us as the number one city for investments and foreign investments of any other city in the country. So our reputation is real good,
Mhm.
which means that people are coming to us. And as they come to us, they need places to live and places to um, uh, and for many of that this younger population, even if companies move into the metropolitan region, let's say outside of Houston proper, many of the employees they want to live inside the city of Houston,
Mhm.
which bodes well for housing on multiple levels. And it's not just about yeah, affordable housing. We need mixed income housing. We need all type of products. So I think the future for housing in the city of Houston, I think, is bright, but affordability is a critical component because you don't want to keep people from living in the city of Houston because they can't afford it, or what's the price doesn't get them the product that they want.
Mhm.
So I don't want to see people, with all due respect to my friends, I don't want them just moving to the lands. And what I mean by that is, Pearland, Sugarland, Woodlands, uh, all of those are great communities, but I do want people to I don't want them to be priced out by living inside the city of Houston.
Thank you. There seemed to be a contentious relationship between the city, the county, and the state. How do you see that going in the future? And what do you believe can be done to improve those relationships?
Well, the relationship between the city and the county, Houston and Harris County, could not be better.
Mhm.
It is a very strong, positive relationship between Houston and Harris County. And quite frankly, it's, it's, it is a very positive relationship. The relationship with the city and the county, and then the state, is one that needs greater attention.
Mhm.
Um, it has not always been that way, uh, but right now there's way too much tension between the state and local units of government, and it's not even Houston and Harris County. It's the state and whether it could be Austin, San Antonio, El Paso. You can put any one of those cities, Fort Worth, in the equation, Sugarland.
Mhm.
The relationship between the state and the local units of government is not the very best. Um, and that's unfortunate because, in large part, we have the same constituency, except the state, is, at this level, but, Houstonians are Texans. If you're in Harris County, you're Texan. If you're in San Antonio, Texas, so on. And quite frankly, um, people expect all units of government to be working in their best interest.
Mhm.
What's frustrating is when you have this dichotomy between state government and local units of government because storms don't care. Okay. Uh, what impacts people here in Houston, Harris County will impact Texas.
Mhm.
Um, and when people are seeking to bring their business, you can say you're bringing your business to Texas, but you're going to be located in some city and in some county.
Mhm.
Okay. So it doesn't help when you're trying to recruit. and you have this tension between the various units of government. So we just need to work on that. It requires everybody kind of put down their egos, and it requires everybody to remember who the end benefactor is, and that's our constituencies. So I think it will get better. I still remain hopeful. Um, and look, if you see us, for example, out in public, you wouldn't even think that there was some divide.
Mhm.
You know, um, you would say, "Oh, look, they do get along." You know, so we we know how to act when we're in public. Let me put it that way. We just need to we just need to know how to work together when we're in private, um, and not allow um, political agendas uh, to keep us from doing what's in the best interest of the people that we serve. So I remain optimistic. I've been in this business for quite some time, and um, and sometimes there just has to be some give and take. But I think in time we'll work it out.
Wonderful. So I know this question is on the forefront of a lot of people's mind, and that is, what are your plans after your second term ends?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Uh, um, I don't really know right now. I will tell you, I've been working on this book that I'm editing right now, so I'm trying to get that done. Not finished yet. It probably won't get done until the first quarter of 2024. Um, but in terms of what the next step will be, that I'm trying to figure out. I said to myself that I wanted to be laser focused at finishing out this last term, and I've tried to do that. And it's hard to do that and then focus on what the next step will be.
Mhm.
Uh, but I subscribe to the belief that if you take care today, tomorrow will take care of itself. And that's what I'm attempting to do. I'm term limited as mayor, but service is not term limited.
Yeah.
So title or no title, you can always help your city, help your state, help your country. So that's not predicated on whether you're mayor or city council member or what have you. So
Mhm.
I'll find my place on the keyboard of life.
Absolutely. Well, as we near the end here, we only have a couple more minutes with you, but we'd love to know when you look, or when people look back on your time as mayor, what do you want them to remember the most?
That I made a positive difference. Now let me take it back. That we made a positive difference. Um, you know, um, I think collectively we have worked very well um, in a very collaborative way. Hopefully, they will say um, that the mayor and his team and all of us working together, we weathered 7 federally declared disasters, and the city did not lose a competitive edge to any city anywhere in this country. Even with those storms, the city was highly resilient and remained very, very competitive.
Mhm.
Hopefully, they will say that this city is in a better place and now than it was, 8 years ago when I came in. Um, and hopefully, they will say that collectively we kept a very diverse city together, moving in a very inclusive and positive fashion. That we did not have the same problems that many big urban cities faced, for example, after the murder of George Floyd.
Mhm.
We didn't have looting, we didn't have burning. We were the only city in the country, major city, that didn't have to put in a curfew because people were out there tearing up their city. That
Mhm.
through tough, very sensitive times, um, it was steady as she goes. That this cruise ship didn't turn too quickly and didn't turn over, but it was steady as she goes. We may
Mhm.
not have accomplished everything people wanted us to accomplish, um, but we maintain a very positive uh, um, uh, environment and people felt good about being Houstonians. And then lastly, I hope they will remember that under this administration, we brought more sporting events to this city than any other major city in the country, and that and we were highly successful at some of those events. So uh, those are some of the things I hope that they will remember. I'm very proud of the city, love the city, and I hope as much as we have done, I hope the next administration will do even more.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor Turner, we truly thank you for everything that you have done during your time as Houston mayor, and of course for your time today joining us on this program.
Thanks, Christina. Thanks for having me, and all my best to HAR.
Absolutely. Before we go, I want to remind everyone that the runoff election for the city of Houston is Saturday, December 9th. You can find out more about the runoff and the candidates by going to houstontx.gov. Also, our next HAR Community Conversations will take place on Thursday, January 11th at 12 noon. Please save the date, and we will see you then. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.